Now I gotta tell you, I'm a hardcore Canon fan, and always have been, ever since purchasing my first camera. But I've always said that once Panasonic gets up to speed on its autofocus, it might just take over both Canon and Sony, at least in filmmaking and videography. And thankfully for me, Panasonic finally got phase detect autofocus right as I was thinking about clicking that checkout button on the Canon R6 Mark II, which I'll no longer be buying. However, I'm not going to be selling off all my Canon cameras just yet, but I probably won't be buying any new ones going forward either. And if you're like me and you're thinking about leaving Canon for Lumix, or maybe you're just trying to decide between the two systems, then you most definitely want to watch to the end of the video, because I'm going to be filling you in on a few little secrets that could potentially save you thousands of dollars, a whole bunch of time, all while giving your new Lumix camera some extra capabilities that are usually only reserved for high-end cinema cameras. So here's the first thing that you should know. After a whole bunch of tests, it's been shown across the board that the autofocus on the S5 Mark II and potentially any future Lumix cameras works great with Canon EF lenses simply by using the Sigma MC21 adapter. Now, why should that even matter to you? I'll give you a clue. EF lenses were designed for DSLR cameras, whereas L-mount lenses were designed for mirrorless cameras. But more on that later. Fortunately for me, all I have is EF lenses because I never did purchase any RF lenses for reasons which will become obvious by the end of the video. For now, the main takeaway is that you most definitely don't have to go through the hassle of selling all your EF lenses just to purchase a whole bunch of Panasonic L-mount lenses. And this in and of itself is a big deal, but it's not even the main thing. What I'm about to share with you puts EF lenses in a position where you may actually start seeing them going up in value, even surpassing RF, L-mount, and Sony G-Master lenses. And the reason for this has to do with simple physics. Let me explain. If you've been in the camera scene this past 4 years or so, then you probably recall when Canon released its first RF mount camera and its first few RF mount lenses. And shortly thereafter, it also released two revolutionary products. One of them being a drop-in ND filter adapter, and the other being a focal reducer, also known as a speed booster. There was a catch though, and that was that you could only use the speed booster and the drop-in ND filter with EF lenses. And shortly thereafter, companies like Viltrox and Mica created their own versions, which performed better than the Canon versions and were half the price. And every now and then, I still get people who ask me, hello? Why can't they make a speed booster and a drop-in ND filter adapter for RF mount lenses, Sony G-Master lenses, or for the purpose of this video, Panasonic L-mount lenses? And the reason that'll never happen has to do with the physics of EF lenses that I alluded to earlier. You see, lenses designed for DSLR cameras were designed specifically with extra space to accommodate for the mirror inside DSLRs. This necessitated extra flange distance between the sensor and the lens. Lenses designed for mirrorless cameras don't have that extra space, which makes them smaller and lighter. But this is precisely why you'll never see a focal reducer or a drop-in ND filter designed for RF, E-mount, L-mount, or any other mount that wasn't designed specifically for DSLR cameras. Now, as soon as I found out that the autofocus was working perfectly using the Sigma MC21 adapter, I quickly sent an email over to Mica and told him to hurry up and create a drop-in ND filter for Panasonic cameras. And honestly, I don't think it's going to take them too long because they already made one for Sony and Nikon cameras. And considering that their drop-in ND filter is only $140, and that you could buy an additional black mist and CPL filter for $80, then you can see how this filter system can affordably transform cameras like the S5 Mark II, the R6 Mark II, and the Sony FX30 into baby cinema cameras, seeing that you'll get that missing element of built-in NDs. But the only catch is you have to use EF lenses. So going forward, this puts Canon EF lenses in a very unique position. Some of the best lenses ever made, both for photo and video, are EF lenses. And this includes many high quality and affordable third-party options from companies like Sigma and Tamron. In particular, I love the Tamron 15-30 f2.8, which I'm shooting on right now, as well as the Tamron 24-70 f2.8, the Tamron 70-200, as well as the Sigma 18-35 f1.8. Unfortunately for us, we can use all these lenses on the S5 Mark II, as well as any other future Lumix cameras that come out. And if you're going to be taking advantage of this unique scenario, then I'd recommend getting everything you need sooner rather than later, because currently all those EF lenses are much more affordable than their mirrorless counterparts. But that may not be the case going forward, especially if they stop producing many of those EF lenses. Now, I've seen some people argue that newer mirrorless lenses like Canon RF lenses are so much better than their EF counterparts. But honestly, I really don't think that's the case, especially when it comes to video. Regarding the image quality and the autofocusing speed, I haven't seen enough of a difference to justify the higher price. And me personally, I much rather have built-in ND filters over the marginal advantage of using native lenses. But that's a decision you're gonna have to make for yourself. Going forward, I'm probably gonna be knee-deep in Panasonic cameras, but I know many of you, like me, aren't going to get rid of all your Canon cameras just yet. And you'll probably choose to use them alongside your new Lumix camera, at least until you're confident enough in Panasonic's autofocus to make the full transition. And honestly, I don't blame you, because Panasonic doesn't have a camera yet to compete with the likes of the C70. And if that's the kind of position that you're in, then I got another interesting piece of info for you. So it turns out, when you shoot in Vlog, you can do a simple color space transform to C-Log in DaVinci Resolve, which makes footage shot on Lumix cameras pretty much match up exactly to Canon color science. This potentially makes Lumix cameras easier to match to Canon cameras than Canon cameras themselves. Let me explain. You see, to build a solid foundation, you need more than just the hammer. But to Canon, it looks like every camera is a nail, which needs a few good whacks with the infamous cripple hammer. And as such, Canon has decided to take out C-Log 1 from their newer cameras like the R6 Mark II and the R7, while not giving us C-Log 2 except in their higher end cameras like the C70, and instead giving us C-Log 3, which I don't really prefer over C-Log 1. And none of this makes any C-Log sense. Sounds more like a C-Log mess. So if I'm gonna have to do color space transforms anyway to match Canon to Canon, I might as well do it matching Lumix to Canon, where at least I'll get waveforms, anamorphic recording options, open gate recording, and a host of other cinema features. So it looks to me like Canon's hammer wielding days are coming to a close. Now, if you found value in this video, I'd appreciate it if you use the links below to purchase your new Lumix camera if you're in the market for one, or any of the lenses or adapters that I mentioned. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future reviews or tutorials. And if this is your first camera purchase, or you just want to improve on your videography skills, then I most definitely suggest that you watch this video next, where I give you 5 videography tips that are going to take your videos to the next level. Thanks for watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. It's Fulan Creative, and I'm out. Peace.